So as Gina said, my name is Jovane Henry. I served in the Marine Corps from 2008 to 2012 as a 4341 combat correspondent. And I am also a former professional model. I modeled and taught runway in Tokyo, Japan for almost 2 years. So while I realize that these two experiences are on completely opposite sides of the spectrum, I did find that they have a striking similarity, and it's pretty much the basis of what I want to talk to you about today. So I would like to start off with a riddle. What do a runway model and a woman veteran have in common? Know how to work it. You know how to work it?
Poise.
Poise. Good.
Powerful.
Powerful. I like that.
Know how to take charge.
Know how to take charge.
Of their space. Confidence.
Exactly. Confidence. Fierce. So they do have all of that in common. But what I'm focusing on is women veterans and models both strut. So think about it. If you've ever seen a Victoria's Secret fashion show where you follow Fashion Week, or even if you don't follow models or runway at all, just picture in your mind a model walking down a runway. Now her back is straight, her shoulders are back, and her chin is up, and she's strutting. You can't tell me nothing. I have been on a runway, believe me, you cannot tell me nothing when I'm on a runway. So that's the embodiment of a model. She struts. Now I want to tell you a quick story about when I became a Marine. So are there any Marines? No. So at the end of boot camp you go through what's called the Crucible. And it's 3 days of pure hell. So it's a 13-mile hump. You have 70+ pounds of gear on your back. You're marching out there. You go through all of these different exercises and trial fire exercises. You have 2 MREs for 3 days, and I like to eat, so do the math. It was not a good day for me. So we're marching back, and when we march back from the Crucible, we don't get to stop and sit down. We've marched over 20 miles in the last 3 days, but we march straight into formation. And we stay in formation for like an hour. And you're standing there, you're at attention, so you're standing up straight, but inside, you're slouching, right? You're tired. I didn't want to be that one to fall out in the middle of the ceremony. So our drill instructors start to come through the line, and we open our hands, and they place an eagle globe and anchor in your hand. And that's when you become a Marine. The entire time you're in boot camp, you have no identity. You call yourself recruit. If you want to say, I need to go to the bathroom, you say, this recruit requests permission to use the head. You have no identity. That's when you get your identity back. And it was one of the proudest moments of my life. And as soon as that eagle globe and anchor hit my hand, I immediately straightened up. And my shoulders went back. My chin went up. And I was proud. So I'm going to flip this around to you for a moment. So I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think about the very first moment that you put on your dress uniform for your respective branch of service. And think about how you shined your shoes, and how you creased your trousers just right, and how you had your one little medal on, but you were working your one little medal. And think about when you opened the door and you walked out into the world. Your back was straight, right? And your shoulders were back. And your chin was up. And you were proud. Because you're a representation of that Marine, that sailor, that soldier, that airman. So that's what women veterans and runway models have in common. And so I found a way to merge both of these things, because I went from strutting the runways of Tokyo to strutting the drill fields as a Marine. So when I transitioned, I wondered, how can I bring that same strut, that confidence of my modeling career, and that fierceness of being a woman veteran, how can I bring that to my everyday life and get up and strut out into the world with confidence no matter what my life looks like? And I developed an acronym that's actually the basis of my very first book, and so that's what I want to share with you today, my acronym. And I'll breeze through them really quick, and then if you have any questions after, you can feel free to come and speak with me, and I'm more than happy to share any information that I have. So my acronym is STRUT, obviously, I like that word. So the S stands for stand up, and this is physically and mentally. So there is a social psychologist at Harvard Business School, her name is Amy Cuddy, and she did a very popular TED Talk about body language. And so you may or may not know that 90% of your communication is nonverbal. It's truly not what you say, it's how you say it. So she did an experiment where she had 2 sets of people sit in high and low power poses for 2 minutes. She took a saliva sample before and then after the 2 minutes they were given the opportunity to gamble. So the people that sat in high power poses, this is hands behind your head, the superwoman pose, when you raise your hand, raising it out, making yourself big, taking up space, owning the space that you're in. They saw a 20% increase in testosterone. It is an actual hormonal change that takes place in your body. Now this is whether they were feeling powerful or not. Holding the pose changes the chemistry of your brain. For the people who sat in low power poses, this is arms crossed, blocking yourself out, scrunching in so you don't hit the person next to you, covering your jugular vein, all very primal. They saw a 10% decrease in testosterone. Only 65% of them took the risk to gamble afterwards, while 80% of the high power poses took the risk to gamble. So your mind, your body can actually change your mind, and your mind can change your behavior, and your behavior can change your outcomes, and your outcomes can change your life. So whenever you're in a moment where you're feeling down or you're feeling bad, and I swear to you I do this, I look like a crazy person when I do it, but I will go to the bathroom and stand in the mirror and stare myself down for 2 minutes in a public bathroom with people coming and going, and they're looking like, what's wrong? But that's okay. Because at the end of my 2 minutes, whatever I'm walking out into, I'm more confident, and I feel powerful, and I'm ready to face it. So that's standing up physically. Standing up mentally means standing up in your situation wherever you are. If you're going through an obstacle right now, facing it head on with confidence, saying what needs to be said, knowing that your voice has value. It also means standing up as a veteran. A lot of women don't identify as a veteran, and that can be because they had a traumatic experience. It can be because when they left the military, they decided that it was a new chapter of their life, so, you know, why live in the past? But what you have to understand is that when you put on the uniform, and you raised your right hand and you took the oath, that was a sacrifice, and you served. No matter how it ended, whether you came home from trauma or whether you came home to applause. So own that service. If someone says thank you for your service, say, hey, it was a pleasure and a privilege. Own that. Get yourself a little Women Serve 2 pin. They have those circulating around. See me. I'll see if I can find some for you guys. And be proud and walk in that confidence that you're a veteran. So the T stands for talk to yourself. So I'm going to have Tony pass out some rubber bands to you all. And I learned this a couple of years ago, and I'm not exactly sure what the name of it is, so for all intents and purposes we'll call it Operation Snap It or something like that. So what you do is you put 2 rubber bands on your arm, and whenever you have a negative thought about yourself, if you're about to raise your hand and say something and you decide you're not going to say it because you think it might sound stupid, or you're about to walk over and engage someone in conversation and you decide not to do it because you don't know how you're going to come across, you pop yourself. And not a cute little, oh, I'm going to pop myself. You pull it all the way back and pop yourself good. Leave a bruise if you need to. Because it becomes a cognizant reminder of how you talk to yourself. And it makes you aware of how you view and treat yourself. So each time you find yourself having a negative thought, after you pop yourself, replace it with a positive thought. Or think about something that you're grateful for. Think about someone, your son, your daughter, your spouse, someone that makes you happy, someone that makes you smile. And that will start to change the story that you tell yourself. Oh, yeah, see? Hey, whenever. Starting now. Starting now. It works. It works, right? So that will start to change the story that you tell about yourself. There's a motivational speaker. She was on the movie The Secret. Her name is Lisa Nichols. And she said that you are the first representation to the world of how others should treat yourself. So if you're not loving on yourself or telling yourself positive things about yourself, telling yourself how beautiful you are, or how smart you are, or how confident you are, or how amazing you are, then you can't expect anybody else to. So that's talking to yourself. So the next thing is to realize your gifts and talents. And this is a short one. And for this one, I challenge you to write down a list of everything that you're good at. All your gifts and talents. If you think you're really good at it, but you're actually not, still write it down. If it's something you've been doing since you were yay high and you know you're awesome at it, write it down. And then reach out to your friends and family and have them send you a list of what they think that you're good at. And I guarantee you some things will be on their list that's not on your list because you're too bashful. You're too bashful. So, when you get this list back, look at the list and take time to own each and everything on that list. Whether you deem it as good, whether you deem it as bad, own each thing on the list. And then take your time to hone each thing on that list. Be the best that you can be in each area on that list. And once you've done that, Go and make a name for yourself. Find your niche, brand yourself, market yourself. You are your best business. So get out there and make a niche for yourself. And once you've done that, reach back and help somebody else move forward. And that's R, realizing your gifts and talents. U is utilize your USP. So in the modeling industry, we have what's called a USP. It's in marketing also. It's a unique selling point. It's something that differentiates you from everything and everybody else. So for me, when I went to Tokyo, it was that I was a 5'10" black girl walking around Tokyo. The reason I moved to Tokyo was because I wanted to be in a space where I didn't have a lot of competition as a model and I would be unique. And if you wanted a certain look, there was nowhere else you could go but to me. So I'll tell you a funny story. I lived about an hour outside of Tokyo. And so I commute in every day to my agency for work. And when I'm riding on the train, in Asian culture, it's very rude to stare someone directly in the eye. It's considered a challenge. And so I'd be sitting on the subway and, you know, I'm on my phone, I'm minding my business, and I'd look up and the entire train was right there. And then I'd look up and they'd go, so, but that was okay with me because that was my unique selling point and I owned that. I was already taller than everybody, but I wore 6-inch heels anyway because you were going to be looking anyway. People are going to look, make it worth their while, right? So for you, your unique selling point may be a physical feature, or it may be an experience that you had, or it may even be an obstacle. It may be a medical diagnosis. It may be a mental diagnosis. But own that thing. Even if you want to make it better in the future, that's fine. If you want to lose 15 pounds right now, that's perfectly fine. Have that on your list. But right now, your USP is that you're 30 pounds. You got a little extra 30 pounds, and you work it where you are until you get to where you want to be. So that's your unique selling point. And then the last one is T, to take off. You go, you charge, you do it. Now this is seeing the vision. I recommend doing a vision board. I love vision boards. I've been doing them for years. What I do is I keep them from year to year. And at the end of the year, I look at my goal poster and I check off everything that I've achieved. And you will be amazed at the things that you accomplish when you're not worried about the how and you're just living life and you're strutting through with the confidence that you're supposed to. Things start to fall into place. And when you look back, you say, wow, well, I didn't get a new car, but I did get a motorcycle. That's all right. And it propels you into the next year. And you can look back and chart your progress in your journey. And it's exciting to see.
I have a vision for you upstairs.
Do you?
I did one too.
Awesome. Have you guys all done vision boards?
Yeah.
Vision
Oh yeah. The secret is.
Yes, absolutely.
I read the book, own the movie.
It's amazing. Going. It's absolutely amazing. And the next thing is to write everything down. Now, I'm a journalist by trade. I love writing. I love journaling and writing down everything that I'm going through. But if you're going through a situation, or even if you're not, just charting your journey, or if you're sitting down and you're talking to someone and they're spitting some knowledge to you and you're spitting some knowledge to them, or you're watching something on TV and it's really, really good recording, and then you can listen back to it. Keep it fresh in your mind, consistently in your mind, because change only comes through consistency. And then the last thing is to pay it forward. So I know we may not all know each other in this room, but we're all related. We're all sisters. We've served the uniform. We support the uniform. So when you see someone else, whatever you're going through, there's always someone who's going through something worse. So have a heart of compassion and look back, and if you see a need, fill it. And it's not only going to make that person feel better, it's going to make you feel better too. And when you feel better, you do better. And when you do better, you look better. And when you look better, you're primed and prepared to strut through whatever battles down the runway of life. So S, stand up. T, talk to yourself. R, realize your gifts and talents. U, utilize your USP, your unique selling point. And T, take off. So the next time you're feeling down, or you're feeling sad, or you're having a bad day, or you want to choke somebody, stop. Physically stop. Hit a superwoman for 2 minutes. Then bring it back. Straighten your back. Put your shoulders back. Tilt your chin up. Straight.